Welcome to the Archie Real Estate Podcast, where we keep real estate simple for the new realtor, investor, or client. And now, your host, Muhammad Archie.
What's up, my people? Welcome back to Archie Real Estate Podcast. So, our guest today, she's killing it. She's a beast. She does her thing. I'm not going to say too much because I always want them to introduce themselves. So, without further ado, our guest today is...
Hey everybody, KIRSTIE Holmes. I am a residential lender. I write mortgages for Loan Depot. Been in the business 10 years. And I am here. I get to work with Muhammad here and there, and I'm excited to be here and talk a little bit about it.
I'm so glad you can make the trip. It's not easy clearing the schedule. I know we're busy, so I do appreciate that you're here, first and foremost. So tell me a little bit about the mortgage industry. How did you initially get into mortgages?
How did I get into mortgages? Well, I started in banking a long time ago. Worked my way up to the top, I guess, of the bank that I was in. And then there was nowhere else to go. So started to think about the things that I was best at, things that I like to do the most. And that was building teams and writing loans.
Nice.
So I thought, why do all the other stuff when I could just cultivate and develop teams and write a bunch of loans and help people get into new homes and teach them how to be financially free through real estate. So
nice. So there was a ceiling in the banking industry. Do you see a ceiling in mortgages? What's different between the banking industry and the mortgage industry?
Well, so in banking, it depends on where you are. But it is a structure that you have to stay within. So once you get to president, CEO, where else are you going to go? There's bigger banks, but what's the biggest? Like a Chase or Wells or something like that. There's only so much room for so many people there in those spaces. Mortgages, the harder you work, the more you make, the bigger your team can be. It's really the sky's the limit. It just depends upon what you want to put into it is what you're going to get out of it. Nice.
So are you licensed in multiple states? How does that work?
So our team is licensed in all 50 states. I personally hold PA and Florida. My partner has New Jersey. We have Delaware. But I write, it doesn't matter. I can still write it.
Nice. Nice. That's nice. So when you say team, how many people are you talking about here?
So it's a great question. Our company is one of the largest in the country. Our core team, I want to say there's 15 loan officers on our core team. So, we're kind of spread out all over, but our hub is in Montgomery County.
Okay. And I see you down in Reading a little bit more. You're in my territory. So.
I know, I'm encroaching.
Which is cool. Over. That's what's up. You know what I mean? And that's a great thing. So how do you begin to do that? Is it just the networking aspect? Is it meeting agents? Is it marketing and branding in certain areas? How do you begin to encroach on my space?
Well, I think it's all in who you know and what your goals are. So I kind of drew a line around where I was and I thought, why do I have a line? So I started to look at my network, started to branch out. I do a lot of my business through my network. So I said, all right, I want to focus on women in business. So I started going further out to find women in business to network with. Instead of staying in my circle, I made sure I went another half an hour further in all directions. And then I took it further than that. And you meet people organically and you start to build things. In addition, the housing market lends, to being out here right now. Where I'm located, it's saturated. So a lot of my clients are saying, all right, they're talking about certain things, adding some conveniences out this way. This is a really good place that they could raise their kids. Let's find them a home here instead.
I'm here to help with any referrals you may have. So
I got you.
Just want to remind you of that little thing, you know what I'm saying? So one thing you touched on a little bit in your last little segment there, women in business. How important is that to you and what you do in the mortgage industry?
It's huge. For me, this is a male-dominated industry. And, a lot of women get into these industries and feel like they're not going to make it. They're made to feel that way. And, I've been through it myself. So I kind of have a little chip on my shoulder and make it a point to know that there is a spot, not just for me, but for all of us. And, you know, some men are great at what they do, but we're great too. And we're not going anywhere. So I've worked with a ton of women, and we've built quite a few groups all over to help them succeed and build.
I'm a supporter, by the way.
I know
The way you said that was kind of like, yo, like, what you gonna do? We take it over. You can't do nothing. But no, I get it. I really, you know, you say it's a male-dominated industry. I almost kind of disagree with you a little bit.
On your side.
Okay. Yes.
On your side.
Yes. Okay.
As far as agents are concerned, there's a ton of women agents.
Killing it. Yep.
Yes. But as far as lenders go, when you look at a mortgage team, how often are you finding more than one or two women in a 10, 15, 20 person team?
This is true. So how do you combat that? Are you taking like newer individuals that want to get into the mortgage industry and helping them get there, or how do you start to diversify?
For me, it's always been about the vibe of the person, their goals, you know, their aspirations, that kind of thing. It's super organic though. I wouldn't say that I'm like pinpointing and saying you have to be in the industry unless there's no shadow of a doubt. It's more conversational.
Okay.
But also my network is not just lenders. They're entrepreneurs in all industries. Mm-hmm. And then we come together and we can build something greater.
So your women in business aspect is more of like a networking kind of feel, where you have this woman is in banking, this woman's doing mortgages, this woman may be a realtor, and you all kind of come together and see how you can work together.
Correct.
Okay.
I do have other female lenders that I work with regularly outside of my company, mm-hmm. which is nice because, you know, sometimes there's things that they need that I can do and vice versa. And even to be able to just bounce off, can you believe this happened? Mm-hmm. And from a female's perspective, it's nice to have that.
So how does that work when you say you work with other lenders outside of your like is it a referral type deal, or?
I mean, we don't accept referral income for things like that.
Okay.
It's illegal for us to do that. Mm-hmm. But if I can't help someone, I know someone that can.
Okay.
And I would rather that than say you can't buy a house.
I'm the same. Like, I mean, we were just talking about it. You know, I can't drive 3-4 hours, but I have someone out there that probably could help you. So yeah, I agree with that. At the end of the day, I think this business and this industry is all about the client and getting it done for them.
Yep.
You know, I've had deals where we started off with a lender. I don't know what happened. Not going to say any names, but I don't know what happened. and it fell through, and we had to switch lenders and numerous times. And it's just like the other lender really helps the other lender out, gives them all the information they have. And sometimes the second lender gets it done. That's just how it works. Which is good for the client. So I think as long as when you come into this industry, if you're always thinking about the client as the bottom line, you'll be successful.
Agreed.
A lot easier that way.
Absolutely.
So Loan Depot, tell me a little bit about what they offer. What kind of like mortgage programs do they have, especially for like first-time home buyers? What can you help them with?
Yeah, I mean, so Loan Depot is, I believe we still hold second largest mortgage bank in the country, which means we have everything. You know, we have, I always say 50 brokers. I don't know how many, a ton. So we can often broker things out. But as far as, and that's something that, you know, as you get into the business, you can learn what that means and all of that. But as far as first-time buyers, there's something as simple as like a 3.5% FHA. We have the Home Ready Home Possible program, which is 3% conventional. I have PHFA programs, which is a Pennsylvania housing program that helps with down payment assistance. We have tons of those. Genoa, in Philly, there's a Philly First program. Mm-hmm. Most counties offer something for down payment assistance. So wherever you're looking, we just kind of look that up. I have a rubrics for every county in the country.
I was going to ask you, that's a lot of information that you need to know because, again, you're dealing with different counties, different everything. So you got to know everything. It's kind of crazy.
I don't have to know everything. I have to know where to find it.
Know where to find it. Yes. That's the key. You know, I love when people ask me a question. I'm like, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm going to find you the answer and I'm going to give you the answer. But the better thing I could do for you is tell you where to find the answer. Yep. Just find it yourself.
Yep.
You know, just do the work. You know, it's not that hard.
Yep.
But wow, so you have a bunch of different programs. What type of credit scores are we looking at like typically right now?
So perfect world, I mean, you want to be in the 7s, but we rate well into the 5s. If you want down payment assistance, the better your credit, the more likely it is that you're going to be able to receive that money. But, I wrote a loan for somebody with a 580 the other day.
Wow.
It just depends. It depends on why it's 580. That has a lot to do with it.
That is the question that I have. So when you see a 580, what's a factor that could say, okay, we can still get this person approved?
Sometimes it's that they're younger. Maybe they don't have a ton of credit and they're just learning to build.
Okay.
Or maybe they had some issues a couple years ago and they just don't know how to get over the hump, but they paid all of that stuff back.
Okay.
So they don't know. Now they're afraid of a credit card, so they don't want to take one out. So we have to kind of teach them. Sometimes credit, it's scary, but it's still good to have. You have to show that you're going to be responsible with credit. So coaching and developing them to get them to the next place is usually fairly simple. I had a guy the other day, and he was 550, and I pulled his credit yesterday, and he's at 680.
Wow.
And it was just a few months of him like, all right, I'll do what you say.
Say it again, that last part. All right, I'll do what you say. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I know. It's really.
It's like,
if you want a house,
like, man.
I know. I'll believe it when I see it. Right?
It's crazy, but seriously, like, listen to your professionals. I've probably said this on every episode, I think now. Yeah, but it's because it's a point. I mean, just let them help you. Okay. So you talk about helping and coaching. Someone comes to you and they have a 520 credit score, right? Are you just going to turn them away, or what's your next step with them?
No loan is a decline, in my opinion. No person can't buy a house. It is, do you want to buy a house? Then let's find the path. If we pull credit, it depends on the situation. They have a credit report, like a legitimate one. I won't pull it again, because for what? Unless they ask me to. But whatever they want to do, we'll pull credit. We'll go through what are the trade lines, what's going on there, why are we here? Is this something that I can coach you to fix? Because we do have some programs through the credit reporting agencies. They're simulators that say, okay, if I do X, Y, and Z, then I'll be here.
Okay.
And this is the likelihood of that happening. And this is how long it'll happen. So sometimes we can do that. If they're larger issues that are overwhelming to the client, which does happen, especially when you're in that low 5 range. Sometimes they get there because one little thing happened and it snowballed, and then it snowballed again. And now they're like, I don't know what to do. And they feel stuck. I have a couple credit counseling companies that I work with, which is different, in my opinion, than just a credit repair agency. I wouldn't send them to just anyone, because a lot of times they'll just take their money and keep it moving. There are some that will, the one in particular I work with, counsels them first up front. They don't charge them to do it. They go through everything with them. They teach them what they can do on their own.
So would you say that's the biggest difference between repair and counseling, is that the counseling actually...
It teaches them lifelong healthy credit versus we'll fix it and you're on your own. Or maybe not, and you'll just pay us.
I said on an episode of mine, like, when someone, I was joking about the 480 credit score. And I'm like, listen, it doesn't mean it's over and done with, but you want to learn good habits. Because you can go to credit repair and get your credit score up again and buy the house, and then just forget about credit. And then your credit drops back down, and then you got to do it all over again. So why not just keep that score at an optimal score at all times? And you can achieve that through counseling and understanding how credit works.
Yes. Yeah. That's a huge part of it.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. So conventional loans. All right. So I always get the question between, why is a conventional and an FHA loan, why are they different? Why is conventional viewed as more competitive? What would be your answer to that?
Mostly preconceived notions. An FHA loan you can use with a lower credit score than a conventional loan. So that initially is viewed by maybe a seller or a listing agent as a buyer that's not as strong. Someone that maybe isn't as responsible with their money, and it gets a bad name. An FHA loan is a great loan. It's backed by the government. You can put 3.5% down. The other part that I've found, and it's not so much of an issue now, but it's still never gone away in a lot of people's minds, is the appraisal piece. So, the FHA, because it's a government loan, is a little bit more sticky with the things that need to be done in the house. They're all safety requirements. Most of the time, it's not a big deal, but I think years ago it was. Yeah.
I mean, as an investor myself, I don't mind taking an FHA buyer because, one, I know what they're going through. Two, our properties are going to be up to a certain standard where it's not going to be a problem for FHA anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like as investors on that side of the things, we need to make sure these properties are done right anyway. So just make them, when you're flipping them, when you're renovating them, make sure they're up to FHA standards. Because then you're not going to run into that issue of, I don't want to accept an FHA offer. FHA buyers are just as strong and just as serious as conventional buyers. They really are. And sometimes they almost want it a little bit more. I've seen. So
I find that for me, they'll send me their friends and family faster.
Yep.
They're kind of residual lifetime clients for me.
Yep. Because they really appreciate what you do.
Yep.
They really appreciate it. And I've seen that with a lot of first-time home buyers. I was in Lowe's yesterday and I ran into one of my buddies. Like, hey, what's up? Talking about, listen, disclaimer. I got to throw that one out there. There was a lot of rain this past week. Yep. And if your basement is flooded, I promise you, I didn't do it. It's not my fault. I'm sorry. I'll help you get through that as much as I can. Okay. But, yeah, I ran into him. We were talking and he's like, hey, I got another buyer for you and blah, blah. Another first-time home buyer. And I'm just like, bring them on. I love helping them because they really understand what the process is like. And it's every deal is special, but those are a little bit different. So.
When you get over that hump and you can, yes, I had one. He's closing tomorrow, actually.
Nice.
And he was another one. His credit was not so good a year and 2 months ago. Gave him a list. Called him every month for a while. And then he was like, I'm just going to rent. I'll call you like in a year. So I was like, all right. We were getting close to the time. He called me, said, I did everything you said. Again, we're closing tomorrow. Yep. And he's FHA. All of his friends know everything we did. I mean, those are the buyers that really appreciate that you took the time with them.
Yep. That's nice. So you mentioned one thing about following up. How important is following up?
It's key.
It is the key.
Communication is everything.
It's everything.
Yeah.
And so we're working with a mutual client. I'm not going to say their name. But they were like, they started off with a lender and they were like, I know this lender's good and everything, but they're just not communicating the way I need them to. I was like, okay, I have someone for you. Pick up the phone. I called you. I was like, hey, can you call this person? They were like, thank you for doing that. It's just, she answers our questions. She checks up on us. She was like, she just makes sure that we're headed down the path that we're going to go. And they really appreciate that. They really do.
Thank you for that feedback.
Even just like, it's really, it sounds so simple, but it's really not, because our day gets so inundated with this person and that person. We got to follow up on this. We got this fire we got to put out. It's always something, but they just really appreciate the communication aspect of your business. So
I think that for me, time blocking has really helped me with that, because I can be a fireman all day long and do nothing. But if I really make the effort to follow my schedule, I can make sure that I'm communicating with everyone and they don't feel left out.
I time block, but I got to get better at time
It's hard. It's hard to stick to.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. We'll be back. So tell me, how often do you get calls from new investors wanting to get into the business and they just have questions?
All the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some of the most popular questions you get?
I think that a lot of people that want to get in the business that don't know anyone call me overwhelmed because they don't know where to start. So we kind of take a look at, what do you have today? And what's the big picture goal? Are you looking to just have a duplex with a rental? Are you looking to have multiple? What's your timeline look like? We kind of review all of that to figure out which path is best. What's your income look like today? But I think a lot of times by the time they get to me, they're like, I don't know what to do. And I know I need to do this. And I know that this is how you build wealth. Where do I start?
How prepared are they on a scale, would you say? Like, do they have money saved up, or is their credit ready, or?
It's a 50-50.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, there's what we talked about earlier, and we have those conversations. Or it's someone that owns a house that is a potential rental and doesn't know that you can utilize that. Do you want to cash out refi, buy a rental house, or do you want to rent this out, buy a new house? And a lot of people start that way. Start with their first property, rent it out, buy the next property as their primary, and then continue and so on and so forth.
So those are one of my general conversations I have in real estate, actually with the same client I was talking about earlier. He goes, yeah, man, I have equity in my home, but like, I don't want to tap into it. I was like, I don't need it. I don't want to use it. I said, dude, what are you talking about?
Why not?
I was like, pull that money out and invest it. He's like, but I don't need it. I was like, no. I know you don't need it, but can you explain a cash out refi a little bit, please?
Absolutely. So when you buy a house, every dollar that you put into it, some of it goes to principal, some of it goes to interest, right? As you pay the principal down and the value of your home goes up, the gap between what you owe and what your home is worth is called equity. That equity is something that you can borrow against. So you can actually refinance. So you take your original loan, you create a whole new loan, and you take cash out with it based on the amount of equity that you have available to you. Then you can use it to go ahead and buy another house or do whatever you want to do.
It just makes so much sense. I mean, that's a large part of home ownership that I think a lot of homeowners miss and don't quite understand, because they're just looking at it as, well, I own my home, I'm paying my mortgage here, and I just keep paying my mortgage down. But as you're paying that mortgage down, you're gaining equity.
Right. You're paying yourself.
Yes, you're paying yourself.
And then you're not taking the
there.
paycheck.
Exactly. So take that paycheck, cash it out, and go make more money with that money.
Yes.
That's how, I think it has to take a certain mindset to really do that. And
yeah.
But I mean, it's all about education and understanding and knowing what kind of options you have out there.
Education.
Education
it's
key. It's key. And education, the meaning of education has changed so much over time that it's not just sit down at your college and get your 4-year degree type education. There's so much education out there. That education helps for sure, but there's so many ways to be educated in your field and make lots of money doing it. And it doesn't even have to be about the money, as we say all the time, but that's a byproduct of just being educated and knowing how to use what you have.
Yeah, I mean, and there's the security aspect. There's a lot of people do it for legacy or to leave something for their children. Whatever it is that is your driving force, you have a key to it. But if you're not using it.
So you have to have a why, basically.
Absolutely.
Tell me more about your why.
My why is so standard. My kids are 17 and 10. So my why has evolved with them over the years. I think my little one, it's just kind of getting her through school, teaching her how to be, a good person and all of those things. My older one wants to get in the business.
I was going to ask you, do either one of them seem like they want to get in the business right now?
He's studying for his real estate license as we speak.
Nice.
So he turns 18 in September, and his goal is to take the test on his birthday. He's a
smart man. I wish I would have gotten my real estate license fresh out of high school. I wish, but I didn't.
I hope he's going to be the much better version of me. I see it coming.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's also got to be special too when you see them following kind of in the same industry that you're in. Mm-hmm. Does it make you feel like you've made a good decision?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I did to deserve great kids, but I'm going to keep doing those things. Good. Yeah, definitely. I'm very blessed to have them.
Great. So back to the investor products. Tell me about your rehab product.
Our renovation?
Your renovation loans.
Yeah, I mean, we have a large renovation department. Okay. And we can do renovation loans on FHA, VA, and conventional loans.
1 second. FHA, VA, and conventional loans. Okay, so just remember that. Go ahead. Thank you.
All of them. Yeah. No one is excluded. So you can buy with a renovation loan or you can refinance with a renovation loan. Mm-hmm. So if you want to redo your house, you need a new kitchen, you want to add, space upstairs, whatever you want to do, you can do that in the home you're in with the equity that we just talked about. And then, it's valued based on the after repair value. So once you fix it up, that is how we're getting you even more money to get it done. When you buy, it's the same concept. We have the contractor come out. Usually there's a HUD inspector to make sure that everything's in line. There's an inspection company that will come out and make sure everything is good with the loan product and with the contractor. It's like the liaison. Mm-hmm. And we match those things up. And then we will get you the money needed for the project and wrap it into one loan. So you're not paying two. We close like you would normally close. So if you have a 45-day close on your loan, we're going to close in 45 days. And then once that's finished and you get the keys to your new house, the project starts.
Nice. So tell me about the contractors. Do they have to be, what do the contractors have to look like?
Licensed and insured.
Okay.
So there is a process. You can choose whoever you want.
Okay.
You don't have to use our contractors. We don't have any in-house contractors anyway. It's just everyone knows someone. However, we do a background check on them and their business because we want to make sure that when we're giving them this money, you're getting what you're paying for.
Okay.
So there is a little bit of a process for that up front, just to be, on the safe side. But you can choose up to 3 contractors too. So if you need to do a roof and you need to do plumbing, but you want some guy to do all of the kitchen, that's fine. You can choose whoever you want.
So as long as they're licensed and insured. 'Cause I've had some clients that had a lot of questions about your renovation loans because we've seen some properties and it's like, okay, well, this would be really nice if we just added a kitchen. Mm-hmm. We added a bathroom here. We refresh this or that. And they're like, well, what about the contractors? I got it. Everyone's got a guy. Like, I got a guy that does this. I got a guy that does that. I'm like, hey, listen, I'll double check because sometimes they have to be part of a network in order to use the contractor. But from what it sounds like you're saying, it's as long as they're licensed and insured, they're good to go.
As long as they're licensed and insured, and they
show solid history.
Yeah, I want to say they have to be in business for 2 years.
Okay.
And when they pull the background checks, like I've had a couple come to me recently, and they've had some issues on their background checks, so we couldn't use them. So,
gotcha.
We do have to do that to protect you, but.
Yep. That's a great thing. I mean, the levels of protection when you're dealing with this kind of money, it's all good.
Yeah, it's important.
It's one of the largest investments you're ever going to make in your life, usually. So you want to have people that you trust and professionals working with you to get the deal done. So that's kind of like for not necessarily first-time home buyers. Those, you said they go for anything, FHA, VA, conventional. So an investor can use that same type of loan as well. It doesn't have to be,
Sure.
like you don't have to be an owner-occupant or anything of that nature.
No.
Okay.
No, there's different products for different goals.
Okay.
So for instance, I'm doing an FHA 203K for a first-time home buyer here in Reading right now.
Nice.
And then in Florida, I'm doing a DSCR, which is debt service ratio loan, right? So basically, you use the money you're going to make on the property to get you the money that you need. And they're going to borrow an extra couple $100,000 to make this crazy house into an even crazier house. And then it'll be a rental, which I'm still trying to figure out who's renting a mansion, but I want to know them.
Yeah, me too. They're out there. I mean, some people don't like the commitment. They move around too much and they know that themselves and they're willing to pay $1 million a month to rent something, so I need to meet that guy or woman.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. So you tell me you're working on it. How's it going in Florida? I'm sure there's a lot of people that are renting $1 million mansions in Florida.
I mean, it depends on where you are in Florida, right?
Yep.
I do a lot in Fort Lauderdale, Boca, down toward Miami. That's kind of my territory, but a little bit Fort Myers, Orlando, done a little on that side too. Florida's my favorite place in America. So
fair enough.
If I can build half my business there, I have met my goal.
Now, how often are you in Florida, would you say?
Well, I was there last week.
Okay.
But that was the first time in a while. So for a long time, it was like at least once a quarter, even if it's for a day or two.
Yep.
And then life happened.
Of course.
And I said, I canceled this trip like 4 or 5 times. So I was like, I'm going. I went.
Sometimes you just got to be like, listen, you know what? I don't care what's going on. I'm going. That's it.
It's 3 days. And I'm going to work the whole time anyway.
Yep.
So.
Nice. So Florida. So you're building a business down there. Do you plan on relocating there at any point? Is that the goal, or?
I am planning on being in both places.
Okay.
So my 10-year-old made me promise her that she wouldn't have to leave her school.
Oh, that's sweet.
So I will be staying here. And this is my home,
Yeah.
So I don't know that I'll be going forever, but
You just like Florida better.
life goals, winter bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know an older couple. They have a home in Florida. They go to, what is it? 4 or 5 months out of the year. And they don't Airbnb it or anything. They just go down there and relax and have fun, which is sweet. I actually think I want to do, I want a vacation rental in Orlando.
It's a good call.
Yeah, I've seen some valuable homes. They're I can get into them pretty easy in Orlando. I've seen some homes that don't seem like they cost $1 million to get into.
They don't. You can get some really good stuff there, and there's a high demand for vacation, so that makes a lot of sense.
It's near Disney. Those kind
Everybody
of things make
wants
sense.
to go there at least once.
Definitely makes sense. So we touched on your women in business and networking and all that things. Tell me a little bit, just a little bit, about what is it like being a woman in this business in general?
I think it's that's a good question.
Thought-provoking.
It's thought-provoking, yes. I think for me, the reason why we do the women in business stuff is because it's not different, but we're looked at differently. Not by everyone. So let me just say that. Not everyone. However, there is that preconceived notion that we can't do what the boys club can do. So that's where my chip comes in. But it's not. I mean, if you're willing to work hard and if you're here for the right reasons, and writing alone is writing alone, helping a client is helping a client. It's walking into a room and getting the respect that a male counterpart would get.
How often do you feel that you're working too hard to get that respect? How often do you feel like, why do I have to do X, Y, Z to get this amount of respect from you?
There have been times where I felt like, God, really? Like, this is stupid. I'm older now, so it's more just supporting other women that are in that space and helping them to grow through that. Okay. I don't, at this point, feel the need to worry about what other people think, because I feel that my value shines through.
That's when it gets real.
Yeah.
When you're like, I don't really care about what you think or what you...
But it comes back to that coaching and developing. I see other women that struggle with it now. And I'm like, all right, well, let's do this together. And it's cool. It's cool to see them grow, because I remember my journey. And it's not that far away. So
now, did you have someone there to kind of help you through your journey?
At different parts of my life, there's always people that you meet that encourage you. Even some people that you don't even know that they encouraged you when you needed it. But yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Sweet. I like that. We're going to take a little break and we'll be right back. So I get asked this a lot. I'm sure you probably do too, but like, what's next? What do you see out there on the horizon? Like, is there something more? Is it just staying consistent? Are you going to become a realtor? Like, what's next?
What's next? Short term, it would be to buy my property in Florida, Airbnb it, have my, back and forth business. Long term, if my son still likes real estate when he gets into it, I think it'll be more of a family dynamic. So we can he's getting on a team now, kind of see how he does there. But the idea is to help him grow and build his life. So that's probably big picture for him. And then, I love to travel. So for me, this is a vehicle to spend time with my family. Time is valuable. As far as my business goes, I think it's one county at a time. And, just kind of, every time I make a this is what I'm doing plan,
it changes.
Yes. So I want to say so many things, but I
remember this is recorded. So
exactly.
If it don't happen,
kick myself. So my current house will be a rental. Like, there are little things that, steps, but I think, big picture, I want to see my son succeed. And if he really does like it, then we'll build something special as a family.
Are you talking about your own kind of brokerage kind of thing, or in
Dig
general? Just,
no,
just,
I'm on camera.
You are. Yes.
We'll see. It's not out of the cards. I'd have to go get my broker's license. I don't have that.
How hard is it to get that though? Come on.
It's yet to be seen. We'll
Nice.
see.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm about growth. Just kind of, I like to research and make sure that the growth is in the right direction. So I think that, yeah, maybe a brokerage, maybe some type of teamed up brokerage that's a little different. But we'd have to do it, there's certain legalities with that between real estate and mortgage. So we'd have to make that make sense.
Of course. Well, no, that's great that he has a direction and a path at the age that he's at. I hope he sticks with it, and I hope he becomes this big guy. And maybe I'll work for him one day.
Maybe I'll work for you.
Yeah, you never know.
He's got a couple other irons in the pot too. He's an entrepreneur by spirit. So,
and I think that's you have to have an entrepreneurial spirit to kind of be in a business like this.
Yeah,
I don't even know that you'll understand it if you don't really have the entrepreneurial spirit. It's a different kind of business.
It is.
So that's nice. So where can we find you?
Where can you find me? So you can find me on my cell is probably the best way to. Is that what you want me to?
If you want to give your cell phone number out, be my guest. I mean, it's up to you.
Well, don't call my office number. It doesn't ring.
Okay.
Yeah. I do have a website. I would say so. KIRSTIE HOLMES at loandepot.com. So KIRSTIEHOLMES. Everyone spells it wrong. It's KIR.
Yes.
That is how you email me. You do.
I do.
And all of my contact information would be there as well.
I forgot. You're the mortgage mama. Tell me about that.
I am. Oh, you just called me
you gonna
out.
let that slip? Tell me about that. Tell me about that one right there.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I have been fighting social media since its inception. I hate it. I am so
Me
private.
too. Yeah.
I do not want to be in the spotlight. Don't like when I get my picture taken. And so many people that are far more successful than me have given me so much crap about it. You have to do it. You have to be online. You have to. So this year I made a goal. I said, fine, I'll make reels. And I'm going to do it. And I was like your lender, Kirstie, on there. And my son was making fun of me. So I have a group of kids that I've raised, like my own, you know that. And so I'm like the community mom. And so they're like, nah, you're a mortgage mama. I'm like,
So they gave you the name.
They gave me the name, and they filmed the first couple reels for me because I went to the office with them, and they're laughing at me for the longest. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I can't, and they're like, you didn't even start running the film yet. What are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. So it just kind of spiraled, and now we have our Ladies in Lending segment with Tori Garrison. So she's out of Jersey. She's on our team, and we have guests that come on and just educate and make funny videos and enjoy it. I
think it's really cool that you were given your name.
I was dubbed the mortgage mama.
So we've had JD the Global Connector. We had Naveed, Mr. Save a Home. I got the mortgage mama. All these names were given to you guys, and I love that. You're not anointing yourself something, but that's pretty cool. So I got one more question for you. We're going to get on out of here. Do you consider yourself successful? If you do, why? If you do not, why not?
I have found success in my life in many different areas. However, and maybe this is just me speaking for me or for other entrepreneurs, I feel like when you are building a business, there's always the next goal. And you never feel like you've quite found the success that you want to be at because you're always striving to be better. So successful is a loaded word for me. I'm successful with my kids. I feel that for sure. My business is probably never going to be as successful as I want it to be because I always want to help more people.
I kind of feel that. Yep. Do you have more on that? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
No. I kind of feel that success thing within the business because it's like you reach a level and it's like been there, done that.
Right. And it was so hard when you thought about it, right? Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, this is so much work. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And then you get there and you're bored and you're like, okay, now I need more work. Now I need more things to do. Yeah. So it's just all growth.
Nice.
Yeah.
We'll end it on that. Cheers to success.
Yes.
So today's guest, KIRSTIE Holmes. Look her up, the mortgage mama.
Thanks for having me.
See y'all later. Thanks for watching or listening to the Archie Real Estate Podcast. You can find me on YouTube at the Archie Real Estate Podcast. Find me on Facebook as well, Muhammad Archie. Email me if you have any questions, comments, concerns, marchie@archierealtor.com. shoot me a text. 484-338-3406. That's my phone number. Direct. Shoot me a text. Got any questions? Let me know. I hope to see you on the next episode.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Archie Real Estate Podcast, and we thank you for listening. Email Archie directly at marchie@archierealtor.com with any questions. If you are ready to begin your real estate search, visit archierealtor.com. See you on the next episode.